In ancient Greece, sneezing was regarded as more than a simple bodily function. Sneezing was interpreted as a significant omen. It was believed to be a direct message from the gods. This divine message could influence daily life and important decisions. Ancient Greek culture placed significant importance on omens and signs. Natural occurrences were often interpreted as indicators of future events. These signs were also believed to reflect divine will or intervention. The interpretation of omens significantly shaped their understanding of the world. This belief system was deeply intertwined with their daily lives and decision-making processes. In ancient Greece, sneezing was not merely a physiological event. Its spontaneous and uncontrollable nature led to its interpretation as a sign of fate. Philosophers and generals regarded sneezing as a medium for fate to manifest. Therefore, sneezing was a subject of serious consideration. The Greeks believed that sneezing could reveal important information about the future. In Homer's Odyssey, a sneeze is not merely a physiological reaction. It is interpreted as a sign of divine intervention or confirmation. Specifically, a sneeze can validate a prophecy made by a character. This illustrates the ancient Greek belief that sneezes carried significant meaning. Sneezes were thought to be more than just random occurrences. They could serve as a form of divine communication or approval. In ancient Greece, sneezing was considered a divine sign. This belief was deeply embedded in their culture. The interpretation of a sneeze could influence decisions. Even public opinion during debates could be swayed. A well-timed sneeze was thought to carry divine weight. This highlights the intersection of superstition and politics. In ancient Greece, sneezing was sometimes interpreted as a form of divine communication. Some Greeks believed that Zeus, the king of the gods, used sneezes to signal his approval. Sneezes could also be interpreted as warnings from Zeus. This belief further strengthened the association between sneezing and divine intervention. Therefore, a sneeze was not merely a physical reaction, but potentially a message from the gods. This perception added a layer of spiritual significance to the act of sneezing in ancient Greek culture. In ancient Greece, sneezing was often interpreted as more than just a bodily function. Sneezing was regarded as a sign of truthfulness in certain contexts. If a person sneezed while speaking, their statements were believed to be true. This belief added to the layers of superstition surrounding the act of sneezing. Therefore, sneezing served as a form of validation for one's words in ancient Greek culture. Sneezing, a natural bodily reflex, evolved into a ritualized behavior in ancient Greece. This transformation involved incorporating specific phrases into the act of sneezing. A common response to a sneeze was the utterance of "Zeus bless you." This phrase was invoked as a form of blessing or protection. The practice turned a biological function into a social interaction. Superstition played a significant role in governing this ritualized sneezing behavior. In ancient Greece, sneezing was considered a divine sign. This belief was deeply integrated into their social norms. It also influenced political behaviors and decision-making processes. Sneezing impacted interactions across various aspects of life in ancient Greece. In ancient times, sneezing was often interpreted as a divine omen. This belief was prevalent in many cultures, including ancient Greece. However, the rise of medical science began to challenge these supernatural interpretations. Scientific explanations for sneezing emerged, focusing on physiological causes. As medical knowledge advanced, the idea of sneezing as a divine sign gradually diminished. Scientific understanding replaced supernatural beliefs regarding the phenomenon of sneezing. Ancient beliefs and superstitions, though diminished, continue to resonate in contemporary society. One notable example is the persistent custom of saying "bless you" after someone sneezes. This seemingly simple phrase carries echoes of older beliefs about sneezing. Historically, sneezing was often associated with the expulsion of evil spirits or the onset of illness. Thus, "bless you" served as a protective incantation against potential harm or misfortune. Sneezing is a biological reflex that abruptly expels air from the lungs through the nose and mouth. This involuntary action is often triggered by irritants or allergens in the nasal passages. Despite its physiological nature, sneezing carries a notable social weight in many cultures. Sneezing can interrupt conversations and draw attention, creating moments of social awkwardness. Common reactions to sneezing, such as saying "bless you," highlight its embedded social significance. Therefore, sneezing demonstrates the intersection of biology and social interaction in everyday life. Sneezing continues to be associated with various myths and superstitions in modern society. This phenomenon persists despite advancements in scientific understanding. It illustrates the human tendency to find significance in common, everyday events. Historically, sneezing was often interpreted as a sign of divine influence or a change in health. Different cultures have developed unique responses and beliefs surrounding sneezing. These superstitions highlight the intersection of cultural beliefs and human biology. In ancient Greece, sneezing was regarded as a sacred act. Sneezing was believed to possess divine significance. The act of sneezing was thought to influence decision-making processes. Sneezing also played a role in shaping social interactions. Therefore, a sneeze was more than a bodily function. It was an event of consequence. Sneezing is now often perceived as an involuntary and somewhat embarrassing reflex. The act of sneezing has largely lost its former sacred or ritualistic significance. Despite this shift, sneezing still carries a degree of social relevance and etiquette. Social customs dictate how individuals respond to and acknowledge a sneeze in public. Humans inherently seek meaning, even in everyday occurrences. This drive reflects a deep-seated desire to understand the world. Even simple reflexes like sneezing are subject to interpretation. Historically, sneezing has been imbued with various cultural meanings. These interpretations highlight our tendency to find significance in all things. The human quest for meaning shapes our understanding of ourselves and our environment. Sneezing was interpreted as a form of divine confirmation in ancient Greece. It provided reassurance during times of uncertainty. Sneezing also offered guidance in unclear situations. This belief reinforced the idea of a divinely governed world. Superstition significantly influenced ancient Greek society. This influence extended into the political sphere. Even a simple act like sneezing could sway political opinion. This highlights the deep-rooted belief in omens and supernatural signs. Political decisions were sometimes affected by superstitious interpretations. Social rituals played a crucial role in ancient Greek society. These rituals often developed as responses to natural phenomena. Sneezing, a common bodily function, became subject to ritualized responses. These customs managed and interpreted sneezing within a cultural framework. This highlights how societies use customs to understand and control natural events. Belief systems have a potent ability to shape perceptions and behaviors within a society. In ancient Greece, sneezing carried cultural significance, influencing various aspects of life. This influence extended from personal interactions to broader political decisions. The perception of sneezing highlights how cultural beliefs can impact societal norms and actions. Historically, sneezing was often interpreted as a sign of divine intervention or supernatural influence. This perception gradually shifted with the rise of scientific inquiry and empirical observation. Advancements in biology and medicine revealed the physiological mechanisms behind sneezing. Sneezing is now understood as a complex biological reflex triggered by irritants in the nasal passages. This reflex serves a protective function, expelling foreign particles and pathogens from the respiratory system. The evolution of understanding sneezing reflects the broader transition from mystical beliefs to scientific explanations. Sneezing-related superstitions highlight the human desire to find patterns. These superstitions reflect a need to assign meaning to everyday occurrences. This tendency persists even with scientific explanations available. The endurance of these beliefs demonstrates the power of human interpretation. Cultural relics can be found not only in artifacts but also in language. Phrases like "bless you" are examples of cultural relics preserved in modern language. These phrases retain traces of ancient beliefs and practices. They reflect historical customs embedded within contemporary communication. Thus, language serves as a repository for cultural heritage. The act of sneezing was subject to diverse interpretations in ancient Greece. This highlights humanity's inherent capacity to interpret natural phenomena. Cultures develop unique frameworks for understanding the world around them. Sneezing, therefore, became a cultural signifier with varied meanings. The sneeze has transitioned from being viewed as a sacred omen to being understood as a common bodily reflex. This transformation highlights the intricate relationship between human biology and cultural interpretations. Cultural beliefs have historically shaped the understanding and significance attributed to sneezing. Modern science reveals the biological mechanisms underlying the sneeze reflex. The enduring human quest for meaning influences how we perceive and interpret even involuntary actions.